Sorry, I was distracted. It's about to start snowing.
Starting to
Um,
snow.
how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Um, I should, can I also record on my
Yeah.
end?
Nope.
I'm still learning all this technology, gotta be honest. So I come down here and I can just record it. All right, so yeah, so I can record it once we
Yeah.
get going on the kind of
Yep.
the interview part of it, because this is
Hmm.
for my podcast. So much technology to learn. I was not born knowing.
Yeah.
I'm still
Yeah.
using a pencil with an eraser on the end.
Yeah. It's a learning curve for all of us.
Yeah. Okay, so Brian, I'm just gonna I'll kind of introduce you and then ask you to tell a little bit about yourself. And I have a couple of questions formatted, but mostly I'm gonna let you do the talking because the general gist of it is I'm gonna say that we as groomers, we know our skill, but we don't really know much about business. We need to learn that end of it. So like kind of what can you tell us to do to help us grow and become profitable, and where do we start? So does that sound like a good way to go with it, or did you have something else in mind?
Well, I think it's great. Yeah. It's where do we begin? There's so many things in our head that it's can get
Yeah,
overwhelming very quickly of what about a budget? What about saving? What about debt? What appropriate use of debt? Should I do this? Should I not? Do I grow? There's so many things that are on a business owner's mind that yeah, let's start at the beginning and build a plan because there's so many things. It's like when I do a puzzle, right? I got to do the outside edge, and that helps me to guide in my thoughts and puts a border to the rest of the puzzle, the rest of my experience with this thing. So yeah,
okay.
we can dive in.
Okay, so I'm going to start recording and we'll just take it from there. We'll just let it flow and let it kind of evolve naturally. Um,
Yeah.
we want to keep it to about like maybe, as long as you really want to go, but I'm probably thinking like a half hour tops, anywhere between, 25 minutes to a half hour. Unless you have more to say, just keep on going. I just don't know if this snowstorm is going to interfere. We're about ready to have a pretty doozy. So we'll
Yeah.
hopefully everything will go well and we'll just take it from
And then you'll
there.
kind of slice and dice it with
Yeah.
editing.
Yeah, I am learning all that stuff. So
Sure.
um right now I'm just gonna let it flow organic.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I record sessions and then put them on my uh, website so people can see what is a coaching. This is very organic. This is just a normal conversation. It's not
Right,
scripted.
right. Um so hi Brian, I'd like to introduce you to the Dog Groomer's Guide to the Universe. Thank you so much for coming out and talking with us today. Um, everybody, Brian is my financial planner and he helps businesses grow and become more profitable. So, welcome, Brian. I'm really so happy to have you come and speak with us today. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you. And it's an honor to be here with you. And thank you so much for the invitation and the privilege of being able to address other entrepreneurs that are in need of help and getting started and where do I go and how do I have a dream and I have a skill set and then I want to put it to use and help the world and where do I begin and how do I get started? So that's what I get to do with my clients and help them to get organized and build a plan so that they can make those dreams come true. Often in business, we are a great individual practitioner or a technician. I'm a great plumber, so I'm going to start a company. I'm a great dog groomer. I'm the best groomer in the world, and I'm gonna start this business. And so we start, and we can do a great job in doing the work. But how do I manage the work? How do I drive the work? How do I run a business? And so that's what
Right,
I get to do. So
right.
some of my
What do we do with
background,
the money we make? What do we do
yeah,
with, like how do we sort it all out? How do we budget? All the things.
yeah,
Because you're right,
absolutely.
we're good at our technical skills and we know our trade, but then we get thrown into business. And whether you're a business owner or a technician, you still have to deal with all the aspects of it, even if it's for your personal budgeting and money managing and things like that. You still need to know like where, because ultimately we want to end up being able to retire after all this hard work, and we
Yeah,
want to be able to to do that and not be left working till we're really really old you know
yeah. Absolutely. We
So,
need it. We need that
so
goal.
yeah,
We need, yeah, short-term goals, the long-term goals. We want to produce revenue. We want to maintain that revenue. We want to um, retire someday, as you mentioned. We need money. We want to, what do I do with the money and how do I not out? I can grow myself out of business. So that can be a challenge, which not very many people think about. Like it's so successful that my business went out of business. Like I thought you only went out of business because nobody liked your product or your service. No, it's how you run. You can ruin a good idea, right? Anybody can ruin a good business model. And so it's important that we get really clear on how to run the business. Because I had to learn how to groom a dog. But where did I go to business school? Or sometimes often entrepreneurs, they love what they do and they hate the actual business running side of it, the management side of it. It's the
right.
CEO and the CFO mindset that we have to learn how to develop and know enough to get by. Maybe I didn't get into business to be a financial manager. I got into business because I love animals. I love helping people. I love the client experience. I love the animals that I get to serve. It wasn't because I loved business and spreadsheets and math and but bank accounts and all of that stuff, right? That's why we often avoid it or hire it out. So that's where I get to come in as a business coach, is to help entrepreneurs with whatever stage. They can be startups, they can be in the mature phase, they can be in the phasing out. I want to sell this business, I want to pass it on to the next generation. I want to, what is my retirement plan? And any stage of that maturation, that life cycle of a business, that's where I get to help. So you had asked kind of what my
So
background.
where do we begin? Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to, yeah, tell me about your background first, and then I want to know, where do we begin with all of this?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of, well, who is this guy and why should I listen to him? So yeah, Brian Halverson. I'm the president and founder of a coaching organization. It's called Dinwoody Consulting. You can find me on the website dinwoodyconsulting.com. It's DINWOODY consulting.com. I have a YouTube channel, social media. So a lot of places you can find me and connect with me there. My background is I have been in the financial industry for the last 2 decades, 21 years helping individuals, families, businesses, everybody from retirees to young college students and everybody in between. I love helping people. That's my gift. My passion is helping people to maximize their results. And I like the financial aspect. I'm maybe a little weird. I'm a nerd, and I like helping people with the money and the math and the strategy. I have an MBA, so I can do the math and the strategy and run a business, right? Because I have that educational background as an MBA. But before I got into business school, I thought I wanted to be a therapist. And so I was studying psychology and didn't end up graduating in
Oh,
it. But I use a lot of my psychology background because I want to study how my brain works and I want to know about my human nature. Because if I can understand myself and how I work, then maybe I'll actually implement the strategies. Because often there is a knowing and a doing gap, right? The space between my head and my heart and my hands. And I know I should do this, but I just can't get myself to do it. Budgeting, right? Who wants to do that? So it's
yeah.
something we often avoid, and there might be a psychological block. So I get to balance between psychology and strategy, the MBA and the psychology side things to help maximize the progress of my clients. So, and I've been doing this for a long time, and I love helping uh, individuals and businesses with whatever they're struggling with. How do I improve my people, my processes, my systems? A lot of that's financial. A lot of it's um, money based. Not that money is the center of our life, but it affects everything in our life, especially on the business side. So, yeah, it's a little bit about who I am and what I do. So you had asked, where do we start?
Yeah, I really love that about the psychology, because we're all suffering from the human condition. So no matter who you are in the world, we've got so
That's it.
many similar problems. People should realize that they're not alone.
Yeah, it's a
But
terminal condition, this human experience.
that's exactly.
None of us gets out of it alive. Yep,
Okay,
we got to
so
learn.
what
We got
would
to
you
figure out how to
tell
do it.
people to do to, yeah, get their act together as far as their money goes? We're in January. It's the time of making goals. It's the time of sitting down and kind of overviewing where you want to go this year and things like that, and taking a look at what you did last year, financially or business wise, We want to, we want to be able to set ourselves up for success this year. So
Absolutely.
what's our course of action? What do we do? Where do we start, Brian?
Excellent. Those are great questions. And yes, very timely. With the beginning
Mhm.
of the year and our mind might go to New Year's resolutions. I have some clients and people I know that actively avoid resolutions. They hate the goal setting process because like, why would I do it? It just leads to frustration. Often it's because, like you said, it's I don't know where to start. So the four pillars of success that I work with all of my clients on, the first one is that where do we start? Is awareness. I got to know where I am before I decide a destination, before I decide a path forward. So I got to know where I am. So where, and from a financial perspective, yeah, like you mentioned, is budgeting. But even before you budget, what is a budget? A budget is just a plan. It's me telling my money where to go and what to do, right? It's maybe if you have employees, you have a team of other groomers in your business, and you have a morning huddle, and you say, "Okay, everybody, let's get together and let's strategize. We got this coming in. This was happening. We got this many clients today. This is what our reality looks like." So I got to be aware. We got to take time to be strategic, be mindful, be thoughtful, and say like, where am I and what am I doing? So awareness is the first key, and we can come back to that in a second. The second key, the second pillar of success is vision. I need to set a goal. That's where the budgeting comes in, right? I need to know well, what a budget is. Like I said, a plan, it's a goal, it's a vision. I would really like my money to do this month on my revenue side, on my expense side. This is my vision. I'm dreaming of a business, $1 million multi-location, or I'm just dreaming of this little small thing. Or I'm mobile. I want to get a van. I want to be able to take this show on the road and be able to go to the clients because they have a hard time coming to me. So I'm going to have a mobile grooming van or a location, and I want multiple, and I want to grow. So there's my vision, right? Where there is no vision, the people perish. Alice in Wonderland, right? She got lost in the woods, and she finds the Cheshire cat and says, "How do I get out of here?" And he says, "Well, where do you want to go?" And she said, "Well, I don't know, anywhere but here. Don't like where my current." She had awareness. I don't like where I'm at, and she was asking the cat, the Cheshire cat, for some vision, like where do I go with this thing? And the cat said, "Well, it kind of depends on where you want to go." And her answer was, "Well, anywhere but here." And so then his answer was, "Then it doesn't really matter which road you take." Because any road will get you out of here. So we got to be careful, have a vision and know where we want to go, right? Being mindful around why did I get into business? What is my strategy and what do I want from it? Do I want many locations? Maybe I just want to be simple and small and I just want flexibility and freedom, financial and time and be my own boss and help people and provide a great service and impact people. So in the vision is critical and it helps us, it guides all of our conversations and our decisions because if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. What should I do with my finances? What should I do with my strategy, with my people, my processes, my systems? If you don't have a vision, you might make the wrong decision because you don't know where you're going. So vision.
Gotcha.
The third pillar of success is execution, right? Once I know where I am, once I know where I want to go, I got to come up with a plan. I got to build my people, my processes, my systems. I got to build a plan. Maybe it is creating a budget to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do with my money. I need to watch execution, right? Think of a three-legged stool. And if you had a three-legged stool and any one of those legs becomes weak, or undersized or oversized, right? You might end up on the ground. So what is that three-legged stool? Well, it's my revenue. I need to maximize my revenue. I need to minimize my expenses and I need to manage my risk. So I need to think of the revenue. That's the CEO mindset, right? I'm going to go out and build. I'm going to get clients. I'm going to grow. If you build it, they will come. I'm going to drive this thing. That's the CEO. That's usually what prompts you to start a company. Entrepreneurs often have that CEO mindset. But just as often as important is the CFO mindset. That's the other leg of the stool. The revenue, the revenue is the CEO. The expense management, financial management is the CFO mindset. And often entrepreneurs struggle with that because that's not why they got into business. They wanted to do the CEO stuff, not the CFO stuff. That's the running the business. And often CEOs and CFOs argue and they don't like each other because the CEO looks at the CFO and says, "You're ruining my plans. You're holding me back. You're always telling me no, right? You're the brakes on my engine, on my vehicle." And the CFO will look at the CEO and say, "You're going to drive us crazy. You're going to drive us out of business. We can't afford that. What are you doing?" And so that CFO mindset is very important as well. So that's growth, that's management, and then that risk, operational excellence, right? The COO mindset, the chief operating officer. We got to make sure that that is happening as well because I can grow it, I can manage it, but I can kill it if I don't know how to run my operations, right? Where's my staff? Where's my processes? Where's my materials? Where's my supplies? Am I ready to do business? Am I ready to open the doors in the morning? Or am I going to run it into the ground? So CEO, CFO, COO, and we got to make sure that that's a balance between all three, and that's a lot under the execution, right? That's where the rubber hits the road. The third pillar of success, execution. All right, what's the fourth? The fourth pillar of success is accountability. That's the hard part. Is actually doing what you planned, right? Are you in alignment with your head, your heart, and your hands? There's some of the psychology side of it, right? You can come up with a great plan. You can have the financial backing management to do it. You can have a great plan, but if you never do it, and we're not accountable to ourselves, to our coworkers, to our customers, to our shareholders, to our stakeholders, to our family, right? We have a lot of people that we can be accountable to. We need to be make sure we're actually moving forward. And some people can be accountable to themselves. That's really hard. They're self-disciplined. They'll get up in the morning at 4 o'clock and go exercise in the gym and whatever, right? They'll do it just because of the intrinsic motivation and they love doing it. But that's great. If you're like that, way to go. You're a mountain climber. But often people need an accountability partner to say, "Hey, Maria, how's it going? Did you do your homework? Are you living the principles that you've identified in the other three pillars of success? Are you walking the walk? And if not, why not? And if you are, what's it doing? And what are the success? What are the opportunities? How do we systematize this success so that success is a recipe, not an accident? It's scientific. It's not magical. It's a little bit of both. But I want to know, how do I repeat this? Man, we just had our best month ever, or maybe we had our worst month ever. Okay, we got to learn from that. We got to identify the success clues, the ingredients, what makes a successful business, just as much as what hurts the business. And let's do less of that and let's do more of that. And accountability is critical. And if you can do it yourself, great. And if you can't, then you got to find a coach like me. And I'll hold you accountable. And you know this from our coaching, Maria, that that's where you really maximize your success and your progress. Even professional athletes have a coach. Why? They're at the top of their game because they still have blind spots. They still need somebody on the outside to look in and say, you know what, your elbow sticking out when you shoot the ball, or you're not doing this, or did you know that you're self sabotaging? I didn't even know that because I can't see it. I'm so in the moment. I'm running this business that I don't have time to stop and look at myself and analyze this stuff. I'm just trying to keep along with the pace. So who's got
Exactly.
time to
Exactly.
stop and change the flat tire? Who has time to put gas in the car? I'm too busy. I'm too busy driving. You've been too busy to
And
pull
it's
in the
hard too
tank.
when you're wearing all those hats, or you might tend to be one or the other. And, you want to, go to a show and buy every scissor in town, and whoops, there goes my budget, like, there goes,
Right, right.
and you're
Yeah,
not looking at things like that because of, just maybe your preferences of how you like to operate without having the balance of all those others. So
absolutely.
that's really insightful, really insightful.
Yeah, don't
So
let
do you
don't
have
let those.
a place for where we can go? Where do we start with that?
Yeah,
I mean, aside from what you
yeah,
just explained, how do we
yeah.
start having our finances, our financial health together?
Perfect. Yeah, let's go back to the beginning, right? I just gave you a quick. That's a drink from the
Mhm.
fire hose. Your listeners might need to pause, rewind. Yeah, I talk fast and I move fast because I'm growth minded. So I want to make sure you're moving forward. So let's go back and slow it down. Let's break it down. All right. So where do I start? Back to the awareness step. I need to know where the heck my money is going now. On a financial perspective, I need to know what is happening with my money. So how do I do that? All right, here's some nuts and bolts, some easy ways. Well, here I call this an awareness activity that I assign all of my new clients. And in that awareness activity, I want you to go to your bank account, your credit card, anywhere you use money. So it could be a debit card, a credit card, checks, checking account, savings accounts, online, PayPal, Venmo, right? And Stripe, anything that you're using, anytime money comes and goes through your hands, physically or literally, right? It's the theoretical. I want you to know about it. So anyway, you go to your bank account, your credit cards, and you look at every transaction. You might be able to download this into an app. Mint is one that often people had used, or QuickBooks, or Mint's now going away this month. So we got to just get our hands around it. Know where the heck my money is going. So anytime money came in, revenue. Anytime money went out, expense. So I look at those expenses, and I'm going to give every single one of those a category, right? In some software like a QuickBooks or your accounting software can help you to do this, or it can be just paper and pencil. And I print out my
Mhm.
statement and I just write next to it. What was this purchase? Oh, that was supplies. I was at the show, bought some new scissors. There's some supplies. Equipment, right? I bought a van. All right, there's some equipment. There's electricity. Okay, there's some utilities. There's payroll. There's lunch. I had to buy or like cleaning supplies or whatever the case might be. So every transaction gets a category based on where you spent, based on the purpose behind that, and I list it as a category. And then I total those categories so I get some good visibility around where is my money going. So I do this for this one's an example. It's on a consumer side. I'll show you this awareness activity. Let me share my screen and I'll show you. All right. So I had a client go in and download all of the transactions. I'm an Excel nerd, and so I had them just download it into Excel. This is just a dump from the bank account years ago. This is what they got from the bank. Their debits and credits, the posting dates, where they went, what they were shopping for, how much it was. That's what comes out of the bank. And I had them add this column called a category. And they started going through, okay, that one was for Christmas. That was drinking. That was eating out. This was gas. This was medical. This one is a personal example, not the business side. So this one was a family on the personal side. And you need to do this two times, one for you and one for your business. And let me just pause and let me talk about the risk, that third leg of the stool, right? Managing your risk. You want to keep your personal finances separate from your business finances. Do not commingle those. What does that mean? It means that there is no separation between the business and you. And I can't tell the lines. You're blurring the lines. And so if you overlap and I can't tell the difference between you, the person, and you, the business, if I sue you, I can come after your personal assets. Well, whoa, wait a minute, Brian. That's why I set up this LLC. That's why I set up this corporation, was to protect myself and my family and my house and my assets personally. Well, yes, if you set it up correctly, there is a what we call a corporate veil between you, the person, and you, the business. So if something happens on the business, the family is protected through that. In your car, in your computer, you have a firewall. There's a fire over here, it doesn't come over here. If the business is having problems, don't put my personal stuff at risk. I have a veil between the firewall between those two. Well, if you don't respect that corporate veil, then neither will the lawyers that come after you. And if you're commingling, then you're asking for trouble. You are removing the firewall. It's dangerous. So, personal, you need a budget. Business, you need a budget. You need to be aware. The four pillars of success are on both sides, personal and business. We're going to make sure that we're keeping track of it. Anyway, back to the example again. This is just a personal one, but they downloaded all of their transactions. You can do this by hand. You can do this on an app. There's several to choose from. They just dump this in and then they start giving it some insight. What is this for? And they list all of they start listing the categories. So then they come in and they say, okay, here's all of my categories. And now this was their own, they added some notes. So I got to watch this. That's way too much. What the heck? And this is them just having this is the psychology side. You will have an emotional reaction when you total this and you look and see, okay, how much did I spend this month in every single one of these categories? What
Well,
was
the
my income?
whoopsies.
What, yeah, whoops.
Whoopsie.
And all of, yeah, and all of these things are going to be insightful for you to know, where is my money going? Am I profitable? Am I in the positive or am I in the negative? And so there are several things that I walk my clients through, getting snapshots of where their money, where their bills are, how much money is coming in, how much debt they have. Is there any money left over? And some of my clients, that's a positive number, and some of my clients, that's a negative number. So that's all part of the awareness activity of, where is
Oh,
my money going now? I see where it's going. I give it a category. I total those categories. That's awareness. All right, let's move to the next stage. The vision. Vision again is now where we start budgeting. So if you jump right in, if you skip the awareness step and you go right into budgeting, you're going to miss out on some information, some wisdom that you can be gained. There's an emotional reaction that you're going to have to your finances. You're going to see where all this money goes, and you're going to be like, "What the heck? I spent how much? What? Where did all that money
right.
go? I can't believe I spent so much on scissors at the last show. Didn't know I needed that many. Didn't know I needed all this equipment. Well, all right, good to know. No shame, no blame, no judgment, no defensiveness. This is just a history lesson. Where did your money go? All right, now it's time for vision. Now it's time to set the goals. Now it's time to set a budget. Some people hate the word, even saying the word budget. It's just a spending plan. It's just, what's my strategy? So I'm going to look at that and see, okay, again, use the historical run rates to guide your decisions for the future. I had one client, she wanted to end one of the line items in her budget, and so, or reduce it. And so she said, I'm going to eat out less. I'm doing too much of that. So I'm just going to set a goal of $250 a month. And she hated that month because she had skipped the awareness stage. She didn't know that her run rate was 500. So if you're trying to go from 500 a month in an expense category to 250, we call that financial whiplash. And it's going to be a hard adjustment. So it's right. Maybe it's trying to groom a dog with dull shears, or dull equipment. You're like, ugh, the dog's gonna feel that one. You're pulling the hair, you're not cutting it. So be careful. So we got to set, right. We got to know where we've been to set a goal of where we want to go, and make it realistic. You can't go for a 50% reduction in an expense line item without feeling that financial whiplash. So we got to be careful with that. So we start budgeting. We start setting a plan and a goal of, okay, I only want to spend this much at the next expo, the next show, the next month in payroll, the next whatever. I was talking to another business client just last night, and she's having some financial challenges, right? Her revenue is very cyclical. She's up and down, and it's tough trying to budget on such a roller coaster. And sometimes she's in the negative, and sometimes she has too many people and not enough clients, not enough revenue, too many expenses. She's in the negative. But I was great. I did my best month ever. But how come I was in the negative? I gotta
Mhm.
really know how my finances are working, so that I don't run this business in the negative. She could pay her employees, but she couldn't pay herself. My
Yeah.
client last night,
All
right?
those
And
fine lines. All those
yeah,
fine lines.
it's
And I know too, when I first started and was taking a look in the awareness phase and just was looking at my bank account daily and noticing the charges that were coming through, I could be like, oh yeah, that was something I don't really need this anymore. It might have been a subscription or something like
yeah,
that, but you can catch these little black holes where your money is going to that you might not even um, notice if you don't pay attention to where things are on a daily basis or weekly at the very least. I
yeah,
like to actually look at it every day now just to make sure there's not something coming through.
yeah,
I kind of
yeah,
started that with the whole awareness about, identity theft and things like that. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything coming through.
yeah.
And one time I had an insurance company, like they were able to reach in and take their payment, and they reached in and took such a big payment that it like discombobulated everything. So I wanted to know right where I was on a daily basis, and know where what my money was doing daily.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, from a fraud perspective, like you mentioned, that's really important. So nobody's acts like stealing your money, right? Fraudulently. It might be an error, right? Other businesses can make a mistake and, oops, I put an extra zero on the end of your payment. Yeah, that's
mm,
going to affect my business. I've had clients that have faced that. Like, yeah, the car the company that's doing my lease on my vehicle accidentally processed it twice. I had enough for the one payment, but not for the second. And now my legitimate purchases are bouncing because of their mistake. And my employees don't care. Their checks are not clearing. Well, it was their fault. And,
Exactly.
so we got to, yes, watch it
Exactly.
for fraud awareness and prevention around that. But also just you, I love your example. I had a client. They had a subscription to a car wash for a car that they had sold 3 months ago. It's like, whoops, I thought you were going to close that. No, I thought you were going to close that.
Exactly.
So you got to
Exactly.
be aware.
With
Yeah.
Brian, I would really like to just thank you for taking the time to spend with us today and give us a little bit of insight. And again, I'd like to ask you to share where people can find you. I know you said that
Yeah,
before, but just go through it one more time and yeah, let everybody know where to find you.
you bet.
Thanks for
Let me,
sharing all your wisdom with us today.
my pleasure. It's a great topic. You can tell my passion for talking about these things and helping
Mhm.
businesses to grow. So I'll show you my website here. This is again dinwoodyconsulting.com. You can see it up here in the address bar. Dinwoody, DINWOODY consulting.com. I try to help you to shorten your learning curve, get the results that you want, whether that's personal or professional. And the business side is the consumer personal side. I do all of those. There's my psychology background. Is you got to think schizophrenically, you're multi-personality, right? I'm me, the business owner. It's me, myself, and I. It's me, the business owner.
Oh,
It's me, the personal side. I need to be able to manage both of those, and I can help you with every one of those phases of life. I also have a YouTube channel you're welcome to subscribe to. What was that?
awesome. That's great. I said, it's me, the spender.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have those different approaches to
Thank you.
things that happen in our life. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
my YouTube channel, Dinwoody Consulting, my website. So if that can be of assistance, there's a link here, right here in the upper right, about setting up a free consultation. So if you click on that, it'll take you to some information that I can reach out to you, and the calendar will show up next. I do one-on-one coaching, I do group coaching, employee training, keynote speaking. On my passion is just helping you in any respect, any regard, whether it's financial, operationally, strategic, right? Sales, process creation, gamification, employee recognition. There's a lot of those things that I love helping people with. So it's been a pleasure to visit with you and share this. I hope it's been helpful for you and for your
It
listeners.
it has been, and I just want to add, everybody, Brian is so much fun to work with. He makes this task into something that's a little bit more enjoyable, even though you might love to hate it. There, it's still going to be there for you.
Yeah,
So, Brian, it's really been a pleasure working with you as well. So,
my
I
pleasure. Thank
appreciate
you.
all that you do.
My pleasure. I love it. I love working with you. It's fun. I love it.
Thank, thanks again.